Hello everyone, Sandi here. So this wrap up that's supposed to be June wrap up and July wrap up to put together is now reaching you in the middle of August. I don't know you guys. For some reason the wrap up felt really, it just never happened in June, and then July happened. July was my month off of work, and because the library is closed over July, and they, encourage us to take our time off when the library is closed anyway. And July just kind of went by in a flash, and lots of things happened, and then beginning of August, going back to work, everything was very hectic for a while there. Now things have calmed down for a little bit, and I have a Saturday at home on my own, so I have the opportunity to do this little wrap up. In all honesty though, I don't know what the future is like for these wrap-up videos. It was something that I decided to try out, and then I suddenly really enjoyed them, and now I am not so sure that I'm going to be able to do them as frequently or as regularly as I have been. So what's going to happen is probably that I'm more likely to do what's up videos instead of wrap up videos. So with that I mean my current thoughts, and just kind of like make a video whenever something interesting happens, So if I do go to a flea market, I might do a little haul video, or if I buy some new decks, I might do a combination like my newest decks video or something like that. I'm not sure the wrap-up video is going to be very relevant for me anymore, but yeah. We'll see what happens. I don't make any promises, and I don't make any, big statements here, because I just go with the flow with this channel. It's more, that's how I'm gonna leave it. I'm sorry. But yes, June. Wow, that feels like such a long time ago now. So I don't think that these combined videos are gonna be very frequent at all. But anyway, June was my last month at work before my holiday, and it was, summertime was coming around, and it was lovely. I really enjoyed June, actually. It was a lovely time for me. My sister came down for a visit, and my niece, and we went to the botanical gardens here in the city where I live, and I was hanging out with friends, and we went on several outings from work, actually. In the springtime, our workplace arranges these recreational days, which is really lovely. So this time we went to a few really lovely places, and we went on like a forest bathing thing where we learned how to walk around and relax in the forest and like meditate. And I thought that was it was so good. It was so good, you guys. I loved it. But I mean, obviously I do that on my own anyway. It was just fun to do it together with my colleagues and see how they reacted to the whole idea. It was fun. Regarding my practice, you probably have seen my Find My Fire videos. I'm still slowly but surely working on that. Like I've been talking about in my earlier videos, I am implementing a slow practice in my life where I take my time with the things that I want to work on, and let things evolve pretty, you know, naturally, organically in my life. And I feel like I got a bit out of off track with that one during July, because July I was traveling, and when I travel, I don't really particularly tend to do a lot of tarot readings or any of the sort. So, but I will get to July in a moment. But my Find My Fire practice started, I think it was in June, and I've been really enjoying that. Basically, I've been doing my whole practice on camera, except for, you know, little bits here and there, like during the daytime I sit and, or during the day, I mean, any old day, I ponder upon qualities of the Queen of Wands that I like to integrate into my life, and I try to meditate where in small chunks of time, where I try and fill myself with the feeling of confidence and excitement, and, you know, it really has helped a lot in my day-to-day life, and I really appreciate this practice a lot. But anyway, so Find My Fire is probably going to have another installment pretty soon. I'm looking at some books and decks over here that I haven't yet gone through with you, and I'm starting to think about ideas of where I could take this practice next. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to do a like a spread of some sort, or some kind of tarot, some kind of like consecutive spread days, like for a week or a month or whatever, with specific questions to unlock the Queen of Wands within me. I don't know. I'm just, you know, brainstorming here, but it's I think it's going to be good. The new decks that came into my collection in June, I haven't really talked about on my channel at all so far, because like I said, I haven't been making any videos. But I'm just going to quickly show you them like this here on the camera now, and then I will probably talk about them some more at a later date. I will start, however, with the one deck that I actually have made a video of, and that's the Tree Angel Oracle deck. So I did do a walkthrough of this deck, first impressions, and honestly, you guys, I love this deck so much. I've trimmed this one now, just ever so slightly to make it easier for me to handle, because it was quite big. It still is quite big. I left some of the borders on. I just took off like half of the borders. Can you imagine how big those white borders were? Well, I mean, you don't have to imagine, you can see it in the video I made. But anyway, these cards, I don't know if the camera is going to be picking this up at all, but these cards are gorgeous. I absolutely adore them. They are basically just depictions of the spirits of each tree, like that's depicted. So here we've got hornbeam and apple, pear. Now, I'm not going to show you many more. I'm just going to show you one of my absolute favorites, or three. Honestly, each and every card in this deck is gorgeous, and I have a hard time choosing favorites, but this one here, the U, so gorgeous. Look at her face. I absolutely adore this card. Then we have, of course, the Rowan tree, which is absolutely, oh, look at just the movement in this picture. I love it. And then we have the horse chestnut, which is this wizened old man in that tree. I love it. Love this deck so much and have been using it a ton. So if you want to see the whole thing, just pop on over to that video as you please. The next deck I got in June was this little gem that I had never even heard of before. I saw it and I was like, I need to try this out, and I don't know what this is. It's called the Messages from the Wee Folk. It's published by AGM Mueller. This one particularly was printed in 2008, so I don't know if this one is in print anymore. I found it in a Finnish website, like where they sell decks. So, but anyway, it's very sweet. I've also trimmed this one ever so slightly. It had bigger borders. Or did I? No, actually I didn't. I'm lying. I thought I trimmed it, but I didn't at all. So anyway, these are super sweet little cards. These are the backs, by the way. Super sweet little cards they're quite, I wouldn't say childish, but they do give me like this naive kind of childhood energy. Which I really like, actually. Sometimes that's the mood, you know. And I just really love some of these cards. And honestly, the guidebook is surprisingly good. I love this card. This is exactly the kind of depiction of like wee folk that, like the image that we have up here in the Nordic countries, which is just really refreshing to see. So we've got, like, this one is a little bit surprising. Here we've got suddenly like a German Shepherd that's apparently, I think, seeing the wee folk, the fairies. Which is quite cute. And then this one is really surprising as well. Suddenly we have an elephant here. This is one of the first cards I drew from this deck. Actually, I think it's the second. And honestly, it's just a very sweet and gentle deck. And I really appreciate it when that mood comes on. And it's a specific mood for me, this deck. I'm not going to show you anymore because I will probably do a walkthrough of this deck for you guys. If you're interested, let me know. Then let me put that away. Another deck that I got in June is the Sacred World Oracle. This is a deck I've been looking at for quite some time. It's by US Games, and I think it's readily available. I have been thinking about getting it for quite a while, like I said, because the artwork really intrigues me. It's a very specific deck. It's only got 44 cards. That's the magic number for Oracle decks, it seems. Every Oracle that's been coming out, or that has been coming out, is 44. And there's been a lot of questions about why that is, but I think it's got to do with the printers. I don't think that 44, maybe it is a magic number, but I think it's got to do with the printers. When they're printing on sheets, I think that 44 is a number that makes the most use out of each sheet of paper that they print. So when you make an oracle deck with an exact number or an even number like 44, it's probably the cheapest option for the publishers to get a deck printed. That's just my speculation, though. So, but anyway, these backs, I'm not too mad at them, even though it's got the text and everything. They're quite nice. they're not reversible, but this deck I don't think is meant to be read that way anyway. So it says as above, so below, in a reversible way, but the elements on the back here are depicted, so not reversible. But either way, this deck is quite cool actually. It's got 5 suits, I believe, 1 for each element, and then, hang on, am I remembering this wrong? Or is it just 4 suits? I think it's 4 suits, and then it's like 1 or 2 extra like special cards. I'm not sure. I haven't had the time to explore this deck much yet. I was hoping to do that in a video, so but yes, it's a very cool deck in my opinion. I really love the artwork, the art style. I have been thinking about trimming away this white border just because. However, I have been noticing lately that I am not too mad at white borders anymore. For some reason, I kind of like them. And I tend to, if a card is, or if a deck is too big for my hands, and I like the white border, I actually tend to just make the white border smaller, just to shave a little bit of size off of that thing. But yes, this deck is super cool. As well, I'm really excited to get more into this one, and this was created by Chris Waldherr, which is really cool because that's a German name, and it means basically forest master or forest man, which is a cool name. So the next deck I bought second hand, and was really happy to finally get it in my collection, and that's the Hedge Witch Botanical by Ciolo Thompson. Do you say Ciolo or Sholo? I'm not sure. But either way, this is a deck that I've wanted for ages, and I'm so happy to finally have it in my collection. It's so gorgeous, and it goes with so many decks. And you've seen this guy before, surely. But either way, I really love this deck. It's so quiet and simple, and yeah. Adore this deck. It's been out on my altar ever since I got it, and I love shuffling this thing. It's so good. Now, I was going to show you a few of the decks that's gotten the most use, but this video is going to be so long, I fear. I'm just going to show you a couple of the most used and most important decks for me in June. And the first one I want to talk about is the Soul Cards one. This one I have had, this is probably one of the first decks I ever bought for myself. And it's been just sitting around in my shelf for a few years now, and because I just haven't been able to I just haven't been able to work with it. It's just not been for me. And all of a sudden, it just called out to me from the shelf, and I have been loving this deck. So much so that I have now ordered the Soul Cards 2 as well. And I can't explain what this deck does to me. And I think it's just because I've been reading for a while now, and I've been learning and tapping into my own intuition, and suddenly these cards just sing. It's an absolute joy to use these cards. They make me feel so many feelings, and yeah, it's it's just such a cool deck. Look at this card. Ah, can't wait for the second one to come. I'm hoping to be able to put them together to create a mega deck. But I have already got plans that I will be trimming them ever so slightly, because like you can see here, they're massive. They're too big for my hands. I don't like it. I want them to be smaller so that I can really physically connect to the deck by shuffling it. So I will be trimming it ever so slightly, trying to preserve all of the artwork, the important parts of the artwork. But most of these pictures, like this one for example, you can see here, the artwork is pretty much centered in all of the cards, so I will be able to shave off a few millimeters off of the top and bottom and maybe the sides a little bit on each card, and that will just help me you know, handle the deck a lot better. Another deck that I've been using a lot lately is the Forest Fae. This deck is such a little gem. Whenever I feel like pulling cards, but I don't actually have the energy to do a full reading or anything like that, I just pull a few, like one of these, and I leave them out on my altar space. And it's just been giving me so much lately, this deck. I adore these little cards. I've adored the Nadia Turner, the artist of this deck, her artwork for such a long time. I've been following her on Instagram. I was so excited when I found out about the Forest Fae coming out with her artwork on it. Super excited about the new tarot deck she's been working on as well, the bee tarot, something about bees, not sure. I really, really hope that her next project will be a troll deck, because her artwork is just perfect for troll and you know, fae folk energy, and I crave a tarot or like a big oracle deck with her artwork. Just solely dedicated to trolls and forest creatures, you know. So the Forest Fae by Nadia Turner has been just so good for me lately. Botanical Inspirations is another one that I used a lot, or I keep using a lot. It's by Lynn Araujo. I hope I'm saying that right. You've guys seen this before if you've watched my channel. I love this deck so much. It's these vintage botanicals. This deck goes with everything, and it's always very, very spot on in my readings. I adore this deck. Another deck that I used a lot in June was the Goblins and Gardens tarot. I cannot remember if I've made a video about that, because I've used it so much that I feel like I have. But I don't think I have. Goblins and Gardens. I think this one is currently now the second printing, or the second edition of this is currently in pre-order. I could have waited, but instead I traded for this deck with my friend. And honestly, guys, this deck is just such a gem. I love it. Love it so much. It's got this beautiful linen cardstock, and the little monsters and goblins in this just touches my heart every time. They are... I don't know what it is. It's just something about this deck that's just got such spirit and gentleness, even though it looks a bit menacing at times. I can't explain it. I didn't think that I didn't get the first edition when it was around on Kickstarter. Was it on Kickstarter? I think so. I didn't get it even though I saw it, because I just thought, no, this isn't for me. Why would I get this? And then I just kept seeing it everywhere and hearing people rave about it. And I was like, I need to see what this is about. Like, will I get it? And I get it. I get it so much. It's so good. It's just so good. I adore this deck. And the linen cardstock is divine, honestly. And the little guidebook is just so good. All right. That was my June. I probably should have just mashed the whole thing, both of them together, but I felt like it was easier for me to differentiate between the 2 months. So now, welcome to July wrap up. So, in July, like I said, it was my time off work. And I was basically traveling nearly the whole time. Not traveling jet setting or anything. I went to England to see my fiance's family, and I spent 10 days there. My fiance spent the whole month in England. I went back after 10 days, and then I went to see my family, which lives, well, you know, a 4 or 5 hour drive away from where I live, so I don't see them all too often. But anyway, I went to see them for a week, and had a lovely relaxing time there with my dad and my grandma and my sister. Saw my mum for a little bit as well. And so while I was there and visiting my sister, we had a day where we just went to a bunch of flea markets, which is always something I enjoy doing when I'm home visiting, because they have really good flea markets up there. And because where I live in like a larger city, everything that's in flea markets is vintage and antiques, and it's just a lot more expensive here. People charge a lot more for their rubbish here. And up there, it's much easier to make to find a bargain. So it's a lot more fun to, go from place to place and have a look around. So what I got, I thought I would just show you quickly my little flea market finds while I'm here talking about July. So the first thing I found that I'm really excited about is this gorgeous wooden bowl. Like, just look at that. It's so pretty. It was a little bit expensive even for a flea market find, but in the grand scheme of things, it was nothing. I'm going to be keeping this probably near or on my altar. I haven't decided exactly what to put in it yet. I'm thinking maybe crystals, or maybe I will fill it with some herbs or something. I don't know. Either way, it's a lovely little find, and I'm so excited to have it in my house. The next thing that I found that I'm just so excited about is this angry looking bird. I just love this so much. It brings so much character with it. I love the green as well. It's got a little chip on it, but you can just face that side away towards the wall. Either way, it's so gorgeous, and grumpy animals, I don't know what it is. And speaking of grumpy animals, the next find that I got is this really heavy brass cat ring holder. I love it so much. I love his little pouty upper bum and his face. I don't know if you can see that very well. I hope you can. But just his grumpy face makes me laugh every day. So I put my rings on his tail every evening, and every morning I'm greeted by this grumpy face, and it just makes me laugh. And I love it. The next thing I found was a scarf that I didn't bring with me now. Hang on. So I also found this scarf, and I adore it. It's so lovely and pretty. I think it suits me really well, and I've been wearing it every day when the weather has been cold enough. Yeah, super happy about that find as well. What else did I find? Oh yes, I found these two of these salt rock tea light holders. I've got several salt rock lamps, and I also have a bigger one of these, but these are quite small and they were both the same size. Hang on, let me grab the other one. So they are a pair and I really like them. I'm going to be keeping these, I think, on my altar, if I can fit them in. It's getting quite crowded on there. Another thing I found was a few tablecloths. I picked up one of these really pretty ones and this little guy. So I already have a few that my grandmother made, and I really adore them. But I felt like I wanted, when I saw these, I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna get those as well. They're very pretty. So I did. All right, don't laugh at me now. But the one other thing that I got, that's just, I don't know why, but it just made me so happy when I saw it that I just thought I need to get this. Because you can always need, you might always need a little pouch for random things in your bag to organize things. I found this for a couple of cents. And it's just so... It's just so pretty. I love it so much. It's like got this weird, material, and it's like makes it look like 3D almost. Guys, honestly, it makes my eyes hurt a little bit. It's so bright, but I needed this. I keep this in my little bag, and I've got like little coins and stuff in it, and yeah. It makes me happy, all right? So it puts a smile on my face, and yes, it's tacky, it's kitschy, and it's just gives me a super, like, 2000s childhood vibe, but I had to have it. So, yes, I did also pick up a couple of books while I was visiting my sister. And this one is the first one I got, which I thought was really funny because I've been talking about this film that's coming out with Jim Broadbent, where they've made a film about this book for, I don't know, the last month or so. I've been saying I really want to go and see this film at the cinema. And then all of a sudden, while we're browsing things in flea markets, when I'm visiting my sister here in Finland, I just see this book and I'm like, this is meant to be. So I got this one. Another book that I found that I really liked the look of was Little Altars Everywhere. So this is by the same author who wrote the Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, which is now like a big film. And I just really needed to get this. I just look at these colors. I think I was on a pink and green binge when I was visiting my sister. And then I also found a Swedish translation of this really funny looking book that I thought was going to be so fun to read, and it's Pooh, Winnie the Pooh, and the Old Mysteries, or Ancient Mysteries, I suppose. So basically, this is a book that explains all of these old ancient mysteries, like Kabbalah and tarot is also in here, through the eyes of Winnie the Pooh. And I just thought that was so funny, and cute. Yes, the original title is Pooh and the Ancient Mysteries. I'm feeling like I probably should read this in English and not in Swedish, just because I read everything about tarot in English, so it will feel a bit weird to read about this in Swedish. But basically the contents in here is Pooh and the Millennium, Pooh and Astrology, Pooh and Alchemy, Pooh and Hermeticism, Pooh and the Tarot, Pooh and the Druids, Pooh and the Arthur saga, Pooh and his friends' mystical guides. I'm not sure what that is. Then we have Pooh and Kabbalah and Pooh and the Womenly Mysteries, or Female Mysteries, which I don't know what it's going to be about either, but honestly, this just seems like a lot of fun, and I can't wait to read this. Okay, so this was now the flea market finds that I found when I was visiting my sister. Now it is time for the England trip haul part 2. I promised that I was going to do a part 2 of my England haul, because part of my haul came back with my fiance when he came home from England, because I left some of the stuff for him to bring home for me, because it couldn't fit in my bag. Anyway, so just quickly rushing through that as well. We have one of the first things I found. Well, I found these in a little flea market there, and it's this gorgeous little thimble. It's not gonna focus on it. It's this gorgeous little thimble with these birds and flowers, and I can feel it's got some weight to it, so I think it's brass with enamel on it, and it's super pretty, and really enjoyed getting that, because I needed a thimble, and I really like having a vintage thimble, and not some new plasticky one. I also got, at the same flea market that I got the thimble, I got this little key. Don't know why it spoke to me. I have this huge key here as a decoration, and I thought maybe at some point I will start collecting vintage keys, and maybe I'll make a little display on a wall or something. Anyway, I really like the size of this one. It feels really good in my hand, and I think maybe I'll use it for some spell work or something. Maybe, I don't know. In England, I also got some crystals when I was out and about. So one of them that I got, and I think it might have chipped in my fiance's bag on the way back home, which is not nice, but it's an agate, and I'm not gonna get the light to finish. It's really shimmery in here, but it's not picking it up. The camera is not picking it up, but it's really shimmery in there, and it's really pretty, and I'm gonna keep this probably on my altar. Then I also picked up this rather large piece of petrified wood. I've always wanted a fossilized petrified wood piece, and I do like this one a lot, but holding it, I realize I actually want a tumbled one, a soft one that I can hold in my hands when I meditate. I think that would be perfection. But I really like this piece. It was not expensive at all. Yeah, really enjoy it. Then I got this little piece here, this quite large tumble stone called Golden Healer. And this one has been helping me a lot lately. I've been going through some hard times, and that's partly also why I haven't been making videos, but that's another story. So this has been a really important stone to me lately. Then I also got this, which the shopkeeper told me was serpentine, I believe. I need to look it up, but it's a really cool looking stone, and I really like the size of these tumble stones that I managed to get in England. The next one I got is a pretty large emerald, which I am super happy about as well. And then I had a white howlite before, but I really wanted a bigger one. So here we have a larger tumble stone of howlite, which I'm really, really happy about as well. Then I also got a few books in England, more books. I got some in a second-hand bookshop in Oxfam Books. One of those is the Collins Wild Guide to Trees. And I am super excited about this one. I really, really like this little pocket size, and it's got this plastic protection on it, so you can take it out with you when you're out and about. Then I also got the Diamond Hand Guides to Trees, which is more of this one has photographs, and this one has really gorgeous illustrations. So I am super excited to read this one. It's a short little thing, but very, very pretty. Then I got, in this book, honestly, then I got the Hedgehog Handbook. They also had one dedicated to barn owls, which I really wanted, but I had to contain myself. I didn't have that much space in my luggage, so. But anyway, this one, look, it's got gilding and everything. It's so gosh darn pretty. And it's all about hedgehogs, their lives, how to care for them if you have them in your garden. And it's got these gorgeous illustrations, and it's just so pretty. And you know how I love hedgehogs, so this one is a gem for sure. Then I found this, and I think I really wanted. I have never read it. I think it's quite Christian. Not sure. It's just what I've heard. But it's written by C.S. Lewis, and it's dedicated to his friend J.R.R. Tolkien, which you know is a big god in this house. And it's the Screw Tape Letters. I've heard about some stuff about it, and I just really wanted to experience it, and I think it's it's a satirical letters written from the viewpoint of the demon called Screw Tape, which I just thought it just sounds really fun. So. Really looking forward to reading that as well. And then we have the gem that I found, which is the Treasury of Folklore, Woodlands and Forests. Look at that gold! It's so pretty. So we have Wild Gods, World Trees, and Werewolves, and this book series has several different volumes, I think. And I was really, really excited when I found it, because I think I'm going to be collecting this series. But this is the one I started out with, which is, like I said, Woodlands and Forests, and it's just so gorgeous. Love it so much. All right, so this would have normally been the deck portion of this video, but all of the new decks that I got in July, I actually showed already in my England haul video, the part 1. So I would, if you haven't seen that, I would suggest, and if you want to see the decks that I got in England, then I suggest that you pop on over to see that video. But I do have one deck to show you that I also got in England, that my fiance brought home with him, and that's a vintage copy of the Connolly Tarot. I have been aware of this deck for quite a while. I've always just said, nah, I'm not going to get it. But for some reason, I felt called to get it now. I found it for cheap on eBay. It's a vintage edition from the 90s, and it's got the marble backs. And I decided to get this one instead of the new one from US Games, partly because the new US Games cardstock is really hard on my hands, and partly because the colouring of this vintage deck is a lot brighter and just more lighter, whereas the newer or the current imprint version is darker, moodier, feels more like an emo deck almost. Now, this guidebook talks a lot about God, and the deck has quite a lot of like cherubs and angels in it. So it's very heavily Christian leaning. So here we've got a cherub. All of the aces have cherubs or little baby angels. But there's something about this artwork that I really like. I really appreciate the coloration in this deck as well. So, and I don't really have, it's just like, I really like this. Like here we have the Hangman, and we've got a little cherub here as well. This might surprise you, but when I was a little girl, I actually collected, I had a little collection of angels. I don't know what it was. Angels and fairies. I had little figurines, big and small, and everybody just kept getting me. You know how it is when they find out that you like something when you're little, and people don't know you well enough to actually know what you want for your birthday and your Christmas, but you have these relatives that comes, and you have this party every year when you're little, and all the relatives come to give you presents, and everybody always just kept giving me angels. So I had a whole room full of angels when I was a little kid. So when I was 18, I actually went ahead and completely, I deregistered. I don't know how to say that in English, but I unregistered from the church books. I'm not part of the Lutheran Church anymore. I'm not part of any church. I am not Christian. But this deck gives me very nostalgic vibes, childhood vibes, just because it's from the 90s, so it's got a very 90s vibe to it. which I love. I'm born in the 80s, but I was a child in, my childhood was mostly in the 90s. And then, all the little cherubs is just very childhood for me as well. So, yeah, a really quirky kind of deck that I'm not quite sure of yet, but when I saw a really good, well kept, it's basically new, in new condition, except for the box has some shelfware, but the cards are in perfect condition. When I saw it, going for nearly the same price as a newly printed copy on eBay, I just thought, what the heck, let's just try it out. All right, so the very last thing that my fiance brought with him back from England for me is this very lovely, gorgeous mug that I bought while I was there, and it's just one of my most favorite mugs that I've got, and I've dedicated it to my what should I call them, intentional tea drinking moments. So when I have something I need to ponder, some healing that needs to be done, I brew a cup of tea, drink it from this mug, and I sit and gently sip it intentionally. So this is my, I don't know, ritual mug, I don't know. But either way, it's very special to me. Now, there actually is one more deck that I got in July that was waiting for me at the post office when I came home from my travels. And that is the Make Playing Cards deck of the 1909 Rider-Waite-Smith replica deck, I suppose. So this is from the what's his C.S. Stein, I think his shop is called, on Make Playing Cards. I will try and remember to link it down below. So basically, this is a photographed or a replicated a facsimile deck of the original 1909 printing, and it's got this really gorgeous matte, like dark or brownish paper quality to it. I just wish this was in linen and it would have been perfection. They do have a linen version, but in that version they have colored the blue roses and lilies on the back to green. If they had a version where the backs were blue like this, and linen, I would have gotten it straight away. Just to show you a comparison here, I have got the AGM Müller deck here. Hang on, let's take the Queen of Wands. So you can see the brightness and the sharpness of this cleaned up version, and this one this one doesn't have Pamela's original calligraphy. Let me find the Queen of Wands here as well, just so that you can see the comparison. So you can see the difference here. It's a lot more faded and old looking, and the colors are very muted. And you can see here the whites of this card and the brown, like old paper brown or beige color of this deck, and it's just made me really love this vintage style of the deck so much. And I'm honestly now looking around for some other ones. I edged this with antique linen, the antique linen stamp pad, distress ink antique linen, and it's just the perfect color combination for this deck. It just I mean, come on, it's so good. It's just so good. So this has been one of my absolute favorites, and it's so funny because it's actually made me use this deck so much more as well. Like this is my study, RWS, and I've been just having it out and holding it and just pulling cards from it whenever, and I've gotten a newfound love for the RWS, and I think part of that might also be from the fact that I managed to visit Treadwell's while I was in London, and in Treadwell's in the basement there they have transferred, or they've moved, Pamela Coleman Smith's fireplace, so you can sit by her fireplace and just kind of I don't know, be near the hearth that she used to sit by. I don't know, it felt a little bit odd being there, but I forgot to insert the picture in my last video, so I'm going to insert it here now. I also did share it on Instagram, but it was so pretty, and oh, it makes me want to have a fireplace. Anyway, I think, oh no, hang on, I actually forgot to show you another thing that I did get in England, and it's the Foragers playing cards. How could I nearly? It was right here next to me. I don't understand how I could have forgotten it. It was all in plastic, so I didn't know what it looked like at all when I saw it. I just saw Foragers playing cards. Hello. So I got it. It was quite cheap anyway. So sad that they've decided to put Foragers playing cards on the backs. But look at this Joker. It's so pretty. But basically what it is about is it gives you, each card has a plant that you can forage, and it gives you information about that plant and how edible it is and how recognizable and how findable. It's quite cool actually. So here in Finland we pick a lot of mushrooms in autumn time, and it's just quite fun. So I think that the spades are all mushrooms. Then we have clubs, that's all berries. And then we have hearts, which are all nuts. It's quite fun. And last we have diamonds, which are all kind of like leafy greens and herbs, I suppose, flowers. So we've got nettle, yeah, buttercup, stuff like that. So I thought that was quite fun, and not sure how I'm going to be using it yet, but either way, I think it's quite a fun thing to have in my collection. Right, so I believe let me just have a look at my thing here. Yeah, I think that's all I had to share with you today. I've cut it a little bit short because I had to squeeze into 2 months. So I'm seeing that we're at an hour now, which is going to be edited down a little bit, I hope. Yeah, I think that was it for this time. I hope that you enjoyed it. It was a little bit all over the place, and it was a little bit, I don't know, but I am hoping to be filming some more videos today, so hopefully I will have more to share with you very soon. I hope that you all had a lovely summer, and I know that summer isn't quite over for everyone. It's not over here either. It's just been we've had a couple of autumny days, and I do really love autumn. But anyway, please take care of yourselves and be well, my friends, and I'll see you in my next video. Okay, bye bye.